Welcome back to another State Park Sunday, and today you join me for a very special State Park Sunday because today I am up here in Wisconsin. I am at the Kickapoo Valley Reserve. This is a very special place because if you look behind me, that is a dam tower. And if you notice, hey, wait a second, there's no lake. Yeah, this whole area was created to be a giant reservoir, but never completed back in the 1960s and 1970s. It was never completed, and the state of Wisconsin got the land back and turned it into a nature reserve. There's a whole huge story behind it, and this is just one of the most beautiful areas I've ever been to. I love my Nebraska, but you know what? This blows it away. I mean, just look at these views. Just staggering. So today, it's gonna be a little different because number one, I got my son with me, so I'm not gonna run two cameras. And number two, I'm kind of out of my element, but I really want to bring this place to you and bring you the history of it. It is just staggeringly beautiful, and you all should come visit. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the Kickapoo Valley Preserve has to offer. I'm gonna get that wrong about 5 times in this video, but yeah, here we go. Now to start off with, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you look out there, the camera doesn't do it justice. That is the dam intake tower that was completed and never used. It's 100 feet tall, standing here in the Kickapoo Valley. And I have this view on it because if you look off to the left here, do you see all this stone? We'll kind of walk over a little bit. We are standing on top of what is a partially completed dam. If you look down there, this dam was partially completed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And it's kind of interesting because if you watch my Nebraska State Park Sundays, you'll notice this is the standard. I mean, if you look, there's that rock they would have put for a water break and to be on the water side of the dam. So all of this behind us that we're gonna drive through today, all this beautiful area, or we may have already driven through it. I don't know how I'm gonna edit the video. This all would have been underwater and a water park. All the way off to there, if you see the highway out there, it would have been kind of that ridge over there. So it would have been, it was never completed, but that, you can see where the dam ends here. Just staggering how much area would have covered and how much of this would have potentially been lost. So let's go ahead and talk some more about it. Or I might have already. I don't know how I'm going to edit this. Like I said, this is kind of a last minute thing for me. So let's go ahead and see what else is there. But look at these views. I mean, like I said, I love Nebraska, but the Driftless area of Wisconsin is something special. Wow. So as we drive across the dam here, just what blows me away is number one, the views. This is just staggering. Driving across here, it really is, as I'm watching this, as I'm editing the video here now, several weeks later, I'm still blown away and taken back to just how beautiful this area is in the Driftless area of Wisconsin. Now what's interesting is the dam was only 35% completed, and that construction was halted, I believe, in 1975. I'm going to check myself. But this is one of the first areas we're going to look at as we come down the road to the dam. Now there is a trail, and I didn't realize this because again, this was kind of a last minute and putting stuff together kind of thing, but there is a trail that goes all around this that circles around this around the dam, and it only looks like it's about a half to 3/4 mile to go around. So if I was doing it over again, I would have just hiked up to the dam tower, but I didn't read the map correctly, and again, kind of that thing. But what we're going to do when we come down off the road from the dam is we're going to hang right here, and we're going to head down to what is Landing 18, which is one of the it's the closest river access to Lafarge. If you're looking for that, that's where we're headed right now. So this will give you river access to Lafarge, and it's going to also get you access to the dam trail, and there's also some camping down here. So I mean, it's kind of your trifecta, and it did look like when we were there that there was somebody using the area. But straight ahead is that dam trail that, you know, again walks right along the dam and goes right up to that dam tower, and then circles back around, and then straight ahead is your river access where you can go hike down there, get access to the river, and there is camping in this area. So we'll talk about a bit about camping here as we roll on down Highway 131. And look at these views. This one was tough for me, you guys, because I took over an hour of footage and I wanted to leave it all in there. However, it just hasn't worked. This is Highway 131, and coming up from Lafarge toward the visitor center, just absolutely beautiful. These rolling hills of the Driftless region of Wisconsin. Now, as we roll up in here to the visitor center, there is something I want to talk about, and that is what I alluded to at the beginning, is this area was created by the Corps of Engineers, who essentially forced 150 families off of their land. Now, I want to give credit to Wisconsin and the KVR for when they built this area. As you're going to see just in a second, they created a beautiful memorial on the visitor center for those families that were displaced. Well, let's not just say displaced, forced off their land. So let's look at that right now. Yeah, here are the bricks from the visitor center. They're inscribed with the names of all those who lost their farms to this area. It's a really nice little memorial. And that is a beautiful memorial that they've created for them, and really for what happened to this area after the KVR, or after the dam project was started. Now, we're going to roll out of the visitor center, and we're going to talk more about that here in a minute, but we're going to roll out of the visitor center, and we're going to immediately take a left, and we're going to go down Highway 131, and we're going to stop at the second camping area on 131, and that'll be up by Willow Trail. Now, as I come up here, again, look at this. Oh, my gosh. Like, I just love watching this video because it takes me back, and it is one of my favorite places on earth. This particular campsite, as you'll see when I come up to this roundabout up here, it's a huge campsite. I don't know if they divide it into multiples, but as you can see, as we turn the corner here and just how big this area is, this would be a perfect, and there is a group of people up there. This is be a perfect group camping area that has access to that Willow Trail and the Star Valley Trail. Now, you did see some water there. That's non-potable water. You'd have to purify it, but there is a trailer with water. Now, we skipped ahead down Highway 131, and now we've turned onto Road P. And this is, per the wonderful woman at the visitor center, probably the best drive, she said, in the area, and I have to agree. After taking a lot of drives through, this is just, we're going to go through all the natural beauty of the KVR here in the Driftless region, along with being able to see a couple of the beautiful campsites they have here. Now, what's kind of cool about this whole area is that this does intersect with a number of trails. I'm going to call them out as I see them. As you can see, there are some folks that were just enjoying the woods, and I believe that's right off of the Mule Trail, maybe, or it's over Bridge 13's over that way. And the Kickapoo River's down there, so there's some, hiking down in the woods that you could have for those that want to do it. And we're going to come up to the left to one of the first campsites, and I believe this is campsite. If you look on the map, I believe this is campsite H. The one that we were at before was J. So I believe this is H. Am I correct? Yes, that is correct. It's campsite H, and just look at how beautiful this area is. I mean, especially with these fall colors. I didn't hit peak fall colors, but I was there just in time to catch some of them. Oh, look at that. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. And this is a nice, spacious campsite with a fire ring. Plenty of room. You could set up a couple tents here. I think the limit is 10 per campsite. Let me look real quick at my cheat sheet here. At the camping areas. I think it's 10 people for 10 days. Yeah, 10 day, 10 max capacity per site. If you have over that, you have to apply for a special event permit. But as you can see, that site J that we were just at before this one easily could have more than 10 people. And we're going to come down into the valley here. And as we do, just look at just how beautiful this area is. The camera does flatten it out, so you don't really get a sense of just the rolling hills of of Driftless, Wisconsin. But I encourage you to come. I can't say it enough. I highly encourage you to come and see this beautiful area for yourself. Because it was created for us. I mean, it was given land that was originally ours. The government forced the landowners off the land. They did pay them, but they forced them off. They didn't have a choice to give up their farms. Now we're going to come down here to the bottom, and this is going to be where the old Highway 131, which is now the old Highway 131 trail, intersects with Road P, and off to the right is Campsite I. And this is another one of my favorites. This is a beautiful campsite. And here's what I got to call out. At the beginning of the trailhead, I saw a porta potty. That's really nice for them to have. Most of the campsites do not have any bathroom access, so this campsite I, having the porta potty here, probably be a primo site. But we're gonna drive up in here because it's just look at this. You got parking down here, and then you can see just a bit, and I'm sorry I didn't get the camera flattened out. I didn't get it good enough, but there's a nice flat landing up above with just a beautiful campsite up there in the trees. Look at that. You get your fire ring up there, so you can park several cars, and you can have a group of folks here. Very easily would accommodate a bunch of folks and have just that beautiful, beautiful campsite here right along the Highway 131 trail. I had to stop for a minute because I had to take it in when I was here because it is just so absolutely stunning. Now, as we come back out onto Road P, we'll talk more about the history of this area. This area was first inhabited over 10,000 years ago. When they started doing archaeological surveys of the site during the proposed construction of the Lafarge Dam and Lafarge Reservoir, they found they radiocarbon dated some of the encampments back to 10,000 BC. So the first tribes, the first people, hunted along the Kickapoo River, and they would have hunted mastodons and prehistoric animals such as that. They have found rock shelters dating back to prehistoric times with fire hearths and refuse pits where they've radiocarbon dated things back. They've also found burial mounds and petroglyph sites as they started really digging into this area back then. Now, this is going to be landing 14, and this is access to the Kickapoo River. Just kind of giving you an idea of what that looks like. But again, just how green and beautiful and lush this area was, and how it must have been for those farmers that did inhabit the land starting in the 1830s. But before that, the First Nations and the Native Americans, who really, started this, inhabited this for back to the Ice Ages. I mean, that was the whole thing with the Driftless area of Wisconsin. Is the Driftless area was an area that never had ice during the Ice Age, so they never had that sediment deposit. So this is all these rock formations or everything are as they have been. And so what happened was, as the ice receded, the first people found these areas, and they, hunted along the Kickapoo River, and they would have hunted for mastodons, for prehistoric beavers, for things like that. And this area being along that river did regularly flood, which is, bad for permanent encampments like human beings that, like our modern human societies where we build cities. But for those first people, it would have been great for farming, because that gives you that wonderful land, those wonderful deposits that happen as a result of flooding. Now we're going to turn in here. We're turning into Rogers Road, and there's another, I didn't find a campsite here. I got to be honest. I didn't find a campsite here that I went and stayed at of the ones I looked at. So down Rogers Road here, off to the left, there is going to be this campsite that it actually has running but non-potable water. So we're going to take a left in here. So you would want to use, your life straw, I actually had to stop for a second and went, what the? Are you serious? Uh, Not only is it beautiful sitting along the stream here, but as you see, I mean, look at this. This isn't as big as the other ones. This would be, for one or two, maybe 3 tents would be about right. But look right there. I got, running water piped in. Again, you're going to have to purify it. You're going to have to throw your aqua tabs or something in there, or your life straw or something, and purify that water or boil it. But you do have a beautiful campsite with water right there, nestled in here in the trees. Oh, just absolutely staggering. And as I look at this, I have to think about that. People have been camping in this area for over 12,000 years. And it really is humbling to think about that, to think about the history along these banks. We're coming up here. This is the Black Hawk Rock Trail off to the right. And there was a bunch of folks getting ready to go hike it. This is something that I would like to come back to someday and really check out, really give some time to, maybe do some hikes, maybe do some more. Because, as I said, there's something about this area and the Driftless region of Wisconsin that's always sat with me. And I think I said it in the intro, and I'll say it right here. If I don't live in Nebraska, I have a very short list of places I would live, and it's not very long. It's like 2 or 3. And right next to Nebraska would be the Driftless area of Wisconsin. It's just something about the land, something about the area that's always resonated with me ever since I was a little kid. My aunt has lived there since before I was alive, I believe. And my grandmother moved up there when I was young, so we went up there quite a bit as kids, and ever since we've gone up there pretty regularly. And just something about this area that has just stuck with me, that has always resonated, and it's just, I mean, you can tell right now by looking at it, it's just beautiful. We're turning back onto that road P, past Rogers Road here. But as we drive through here, we do have to think about, again, going back to the history of this area. The First Nations, the first people, they were here for tens of thousands of years before European folk came in and, pushed them off their lands. These areas have a deep, rich history, and really I am humbled and happy to know that this project was stopped. Now to see that the history that's in the valley, the history behind the project, and there's a campsite off to the left that we kind of blew past a little bit, unfortunately, and we didn't get a good shot of coming back. That is right off the bridge, or Mon Pause Trail. That's right off of there. This area has just such rich history. Now, the whole thing behind the Lafarge Dam project is it was started in 1962 with an act passed, Flood Control Act passed by Congress. Construction started in 1970, stopped in 1975. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers spent about $15 million at that time to do this, to do 39% of the dam and create the dam tower, and buying folks out of their land and pushing all of them off their land to essentially never complete it because of environmental impact studies revealed that there were endangered species there, and also because this really was a very unpopular project with the locals, and you can see why. Turning in here, we have, I think this is site 00 and site P, if I'm looking at my map correctly. But here's another huge, beautiful campsite that sits along Weister Creek. I hope I got that right. But it sits along the creek, and look at this beautiful campsite again. It really, you have to think for a second and go, people have been camping here for 12,000 years or more that we know of. And just that thought, for any of you that's an outdoorsman, it just really is staggering to think about that. And we have to kind of take it in as we look out here and just sit along this creek and go, people have been camping along this creek since the ice ages, and that's really what it's all about. It's really all about protecting these areas, enjoying these areas, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come, because they need to stay protected. They don't need to be, turned into these malls and stores and what have you. But yeah, I remember stopping here and having to take a moment and take that all in, and then having to try to figure out how to turn around. But this is a beautiful area. If you wanted to, again, one of those areas where you wanted to have several people and have a nice big camping area, this would be perfect for you. And that is that site. I believe it's OO. But back to the history again of this area is when they did determine it was wildly unpopular. I mean, it devastated the town of Lafarge. It took over a third of the students out of the school system. It took, what did I read? It was 25% of it. It took a fourth of the local economy. It drastically impacted the local economy, and really, just ultimately for what? Now we're turning onto Wolf Valley Road here, and this is to some of the last areas. There is a dark sky area here, so if you are looking for a place to observe, this is a perfect spot for it. But again, it really did devastate the local economy, and it really did a number on it. And over the years, after 1975, when construction stopped, they really didn't do anything until it was finally released, thanks to the work of the Congressfolk from Wisconsin. They got it back in the late 90s. It officially was handed over to the part of it was handed over to the Ho-Chunk Nation, and part of it was handed over to the state of Wisconsin, in total of 8,936 acres back in 2000. And so then they created the KVR, which I'm so glad they did, to preserve for future generations. So we're coming up Wolf Valley Road, and there's that dark sky pull off there, and we're gonna go ahead and we'll be back to that in just a second, or I have a shot of it. I actually went through it, the dark sky viewing parking lot, and that's again on that Wolf Valley Road off of Road P. So let's go ahead and cut back to that here in just a moment as we come up the road. But just look at the views. I'm so glad this is still here to preserve this. And this is kind of the border right here, if you can see, of the area. So we're going to go ahead and cut back, and we're pulling into that dark sky viewing area. And you can see here that here's the parking lot, and then you can go back there, and you can set up and view the stars. And I've seen a couple of those in Nebraska, and it's really cool to see them in other states. And it is really interesting to come from a metropolitan area and then to come up here, how dark it was every night and how beautiful it was. It really is something it's something that takes you a minute to adjust to if you're from the city. So it is, it's something that I greatly appreciate when I come up there, but it also throws you off a little. So now we're going to go ahead and keep on going down the road. But the state of Wisconsin did take this back over, and it is now being the Kickapoo Valley Reserve is going to be protected for us for future generations. So the nature center the visitor center that we saw before opened in 2004. It does have an 8,300 square foot nature center that you can check out, that you should check out. And we are now on Highway 131, and we are turning onto the what they call it, the Bridge to Nowhere. The highway was completed. The highway was relocated up here, and these bridges were completed because they were originally designed to go over a reservoir. But as you can see, now we're just going on over the valley, and it is kind of an illustration to
to what happened in the area. Now, when the Corps of Engineers kind of did all this, they kind of abandoned it, and then the state of Wisconsin didn't do a whole lot with it until the 2000s because they didn't know what was happening. They didn't know until it was handed over to the state of Wisconsin and the Ho-Chunk Nation. Nobody knew. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew what was going to go on here. So the state of Wisconsin obviously didn't invest a lot of money in the road. So they redid a lot of those bridges along Highway 131 after that. But it really is an interesting testament to how much money was spent for nothing. And in the end, it ended up being a very good thing because we got these lands back for everyone, even me from out of state, from Nebraska, to come visit. So just to keep in mind that camping for this area is limited to designated camping areas. They have 36 campsites. You can either reserve them online or at the visitor center. I'm going to say it again. The wonderful woman at the visitor center, thank you so much for being so welcoming. I got the greatest impression here. I mean, it's just like I was back home, even from out of state. But yeah, we're just driving down 131 here, and we're getting close to where we're going to end this. But I'm just struck by, to wrap this all up, before I do my outro, I'm just struck by how beautiful, how just really, it takes you, like, you have to come up here to experience it, really, and walk around and get out and go, and just for a second go, people have been here for over 10,000 years. And this area was just kind of a testament to the failed projects of the modern civilization, and trying to harness that land for ourselves, trying to do something for us, and instead the local folks and the state of Wisconsin eventually got the land back, and now have created this 8,600 acre reserve for everyone to use. As a keynote, that this is not part of the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, the DNR. So DNR passes, DNR stuff isn't valid here. You do have to, like I said, you don't have to get a pass for driving through it. If you are going to use it, if you're going to hike, if you're going to camp, things like that, then yes, you need to talk to them, get the proper passes. And they are very helpful, and prices are very reasonable. Back at the visitor center, there are restrooms, and there is that nature center. There is a whole very nice museum in the area, in that visitor center, that you really should walk through when you're here. I just wish I would have had more time. It was kind of, like I said, this was totally unplanned, but as you can drive through here, just look how beautiful this is. We're coming over this hill now, and we're coming to our last part, and now I'm bummed again. Even not being here, driving through there, I'm bummed because we're coming down to the Kickapoo River and to the end of the park, where beyond this would be the Ho-Chunk Nations area, the Ho-Chunk Nations land, and then beyond that is the Wildcat Mountain State Park. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go to the outro as we round this corner along the shore of the Kickapoo River, and you can almost see the ledges right off to the right. There's the beautiful Kickapoo River. And I think they wanted this all to be just one big tourist destination. Well, standing here on the edge of the river, from me for one, I'm glad that that didn't happen, and instead that it's now a reserve, preserving this area for future generations. And it's up to us to protect it. Come out here and visit these areas. And I'd really like to give a shout out to the state of Wisconsin and the people of this area for protecting this area. It's been beautiful. I've loved every minute of this drive. Again, I love this area. It's one of my favorite places on earth. If I didn't live in Nebraska, I'd live here. And sometimes I really think about it now. It's pretty tough when you work from home to not do such a thing. But here on the edges of the Kickapoo River today, I'm going to say goodbye to you, unfortunately. It's been another wonderful State Park Sunday. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope if you're in the area, or if you can make it up here, that you'll come up here and
check it out, because again, these are our lands to protect. Nice people, wonderful people. I was driving through here. These are our areas to protect. It's like the lady told me at the visitor center. This is your area. I just loved it because I asked if I had to buy a park pass. She said, nope, this is your area. This is our lands. So these are our areas to protect. And honestly, they were never the government's areas to take. They never really belonged to us. In fact, they belong to the Ho-Chunk Nation, which is, their land is right over there. This is still their land. Controversial take. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I do these every single Sunday, most Sundays, and most of the time they're in the state of Nebraska, but now this is a special one from Wisconsin. And so check back every single Sunday. There'll be some playlists linked up here. And also while you're here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you back. So my name is Ben, this is Big Ben's Outdoors, and I'll see you next time.